pretty much all of us drive around with a monkey behind the wheel. If your life was a car, then there's a good chance that a monkey is behind the wheel. What do I mean by that? Well, if you aren't centered in your heart or in your body, but just have a loose anchor, then it's like your thoughts controlling your life like a monkey behind the wheel that can take you pretty much anywhere. So the only important thing, whether you go to astrology, to the law of attraction, or anything, is that you get your daily meditation and that you understand that your mind is a tool, it is not you. We need to learn to center ourselves in the now, in the moment. And how do we do this? We can only do this if our thoughts don't control our lives. So we need to move the center from the mind to the heart or the body. That's the next evolutionary step. Most of my clients are very intelligent people with such a strong desire to find this path in life, but what they all find the most difficult is to actually get to meditate every day. And that meditation is so important. So why waste any more time with getting a lot of mental knowledge and stimulation through astrology, through the law of attraction or whatever? Why not learn to, just as you brush your teeth every morning and evening, because you wouldn't want to go and meet anyone or even fall asleep with your mouth dirty, and you also go to take a shower. But it's okay to have a filthy inner world for some reason. You would never ever go to work without brushing your teeth, but you don't mind going to work being stressed out and having an unclean energy or vibration, and that's actually what's defining your whole life. So it's super important that you take this responsibility and get the meditation done. Doesn't matter if it's my meditation. I have many meditations on the channel. You just go to the front page and you will find them. And I always suggest heartfulness meditation because it goes to delta waves. It has a deeper state because it's meditation with transmission. But do whatever you want, just any kind of meditation. Do you clean your house every day? Do you make sure there's not old dirt, or at least like every third day or whatever? I don't know how often you do it. But right now, if you haven't been meditating, your inner state, your inner world is like a house that hasn't been cleaned for 2 years. Can you imagine the old dirt from the food that hasn't been thrown out? Yeah, that's your inner state if you don't meditate. So, just as I say to my clients, there's no point in watching a lot of videos about self-development if you don't want to meditate. There's no point in watching a lot of astrology, law of attraction videos, whatever, going to a psychologist, if you don't want to find that inner world connection and that center, because then it's not a monkey behind the wheel, then it will be your intuition guiding you. Then the messages that comes to you will come from a higher place, because there's always a voice guiding us, which is our intuition, our higher self that is connected to the greater intelligence at stake here in the world. So only in the moment you will find this. Do you ever listen to the leaves in the wind? Feel your breathing and just feel how everything is like so magical, that something runs through everything that is so magical. It's because there's another layer of reality when you get out of your head and your mind, where things are so soft and beautiful. Something else. There's another life that you have to experience. You can't understand through my guidance. You have to meditate and experience it for yourself. And why meditation? Because that's the only thing that directly takes you out of your head and into that other layer. This one is automatically in that layer. So this was all quantum for today. Now we're going straight to the astrology report, which is important because today it's about Mars and Venus meeting up. It's a very important conjunction that only happens twice a year. So now you will see beautiful footage of me and Happy on the beach. Not me, actually. Happy and the beach. A very beautiful beach here in Denmark. So see you in the report.
Is this angel saying I'm gonna find my way back home? The secret is love, he said.
Don't follow trends, follow your heart. Welcome to an extra report about our relationship planets, Mars and Venus meeting up for the first time in 2 years. This is significant in regards to your relations to others. Plus, just before that, we've had this block, this slowdown, this feeling of not being able to move forward with something that you really personally want. That started around the 1st of August, maybe even a little before. But then there's a release later on. So I just thought this was a really important report. Okay, so Mars and Venus will be together for the first time in 2 years. They only meet up every 2 years, around every 2 years. And this time it's between the 11th to the 15th of July, and they're meeting up between 18 and 20 degrees of Leo. So you have to check out where 18 to 20 degrees of Leo falls in your chart and find out in which house this is. So Venus are our personal relationships, our values, how we relate to others in general, and what's important to us. It's our feminine side. Mars is our masculine side. I mean, Mars is how we act upon, how we get into a relationship, and how our masculine sexuality is, and Venus is more of our receptive sexuality. The moon will actually also conjunct the two in this period, so that's really significant, because it's like this is our needs, our inner child, our inner needs, and it's our ability to receive. So there's a recalibration going on here between the masculine and the feminine side in us, and it's the personal planet, so it's on a very personal level. So this is Leo. It's always about our courage and how you return to yourself and what you want and need and how you want to be seen. And last time this happened was in July of 2019, between the 5th and the 6th of July, in 1 degrees of Cancer. And it actually, they travel together. When they travel together, your inner feminine and masculine sides are on the same page-ish. And they travel together between July and September 2019. Try to go back and see how your relationships were back then. And see how you've grown since then. And, I mean, Venus and Mars have been retrograde since then. I've been through a lot of tests and trials. And now they're on the same page again, but with Saturn in opposition to them. So as they are breaking loose, that Saturn opposition and Uranus square has actually just been there. So it's after the liberation. So there can be some really, really important changes coming now. And last time it was between Cancer and Virgo. This time it's going to be between Leo and Virgo. But we have the Sun and Mercury going through Cancer at the same time. So we still have the Cancer energy. So Leo is about how we want to be seen and recognized by others. And the important thing is always, since we have the law of attraction, like, how are you seeing yourself and how are you recognizing yourself? How are you recognizing how much you've been shifting since 2019? How have your relationships shifted? And often it's about the love relationships when it's Mars and Venus. How the passionate side of you is, how you love others, reflected in how you love yourself. It's always about, and self-love is always about, are you truly good to yourself? Are you just good to yourself by drinking something when you don't want to feel what you really feel? I mean, are you following your heart? Are you being authentic? Are you living authentically from your heart? So just before that, I have to mention that all three personal planets, especially Venus and Mars, have been in square to Saturn, and which is retrograde, and then Uranus, who's direct in Taurus. Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius. And how are we relating to ourselves is the question. Like, how are we relating to others comes after that, as I said. And where have you been good to yourself, really? I mean, what do you need to feel loved is the question here. What do you need to feel seen, and how do you provide yourself this? Again, how do you follow your heart? without needing to have the recognition outside of yourself, without needing others to give it to you, without getting into these kind of relationship addictions where you are codependent upon others. Or for example, that you have to give a lot in order to get something back, where it's kind of like a love that you buy. Leo can be quite egotistic, or only thinking about themselves and their needs and what they want, and be a little, like, I want this, I'm gonna take it, and be a little narcissistic. That's a shadow side, to only care about their needs. So like being in their own small world. The positive side of Leo is when you get through that, when you learn that shadow side of yourself, learn to know that side of yourself and choose something else, the heart will expand, and it's enough to just be authentically you and shine that light upon other people. Be that sun, that you are, because we all have something special to give this world, and recognize and feel love when you are you, without taking upon yourself some kind of role, and see that it's okay to just give and receive, so there's a balance, because there always have to be a balance between two signs. In this case, of course, between Leo and Aquarius, and Aquarius is about the people, and Leo is about me on stage. So that balance is needed. So Saturn will be in opposition to Mars from the 1st to 2nd of July. 1st of July here in Denmark, and Venus between the 7th and 8th of July. And Saturn means that something can feel stuck, because there's a reality check that makes it feel like a standstill-ish. That can make you feel heavy or depressive if you don't. You have to pay attention to where your mind wanders, and you can get the sense of, how do I even move on, because Mars wants to move forward, right? But when it's something to do with Saturn, then it's something to do with timing, and also something about readjusting your personal will. Like, how is there's a standstill in what you would really want personally, right? And Saturn is really teaching. Saturn in Aquarius is teaching us to look more objectively on yourself. So when you feel this standstill that I mentioned in the last report also, you need to look at yourself from the outside and stop projecting. Be aware of if you're projecting. How do I look upon other people and give space to other people and see other possibilities beyond my sense of self, this masculine and feminine energy inside of us has this kind of standing still, where you're seeing the bigger picture, you're seeing the wider screen, you're going outside, you're the satellite, seeing the earth from the outside, instead of just looking at your own navel-ish. You see beyond what you can see now, and there's something you might not be able to see now, but it's going to come. Just trust the process. You see what's not integrated in you, because you're not in sync with your heart, where you need to get more in sync with your heart in your activities and your life. So, and the answer may not be clear right away. But the good thing is that this aspect works really well with the aspect to Chiron, because Saturn is in a sextile to Chiron, and Mars in a trine. And this is a new start for yourself, this is like you're opening up for new layers of yourself here with Chiron and Aries, a new way of living that self, and you're unsure of it, because there's a new way of doing things, and a new way of you're vulnerable because there's something you haven't done before, and how do I plan? How do I do? There's this voice, like the mental, this new role that you're getting, your old control patterns will try to take over perhaps, and say, what do I do? And start to complain. It's always about you. Pay attention to your mind, where it goes. Just always, your only job is not to let your thoughts take over. Go back into your body, realign yourself all the time. The tools, there are plenty of tools on the channel, meditations, or just, connect with nature. That's always in alignment. The good thing is that there's also some kind of fire awakening up in your heart. Like, you want to live, you want to try something new, your heart's going to expand. And the road here the way here hasn't been easy. And because every time something changes within, it's also changing without, and that can make us scared. But we kind of let go of something, and the new that we've been having to work for and really deserve is on its way. So you've had to work on yourself in regards to something in yourself, like how you relate to others. That is the whole point of this. Look at where this is in your life. Feel into it intuitively. Just suggest subtly to yourself that you will get the answer of where it is, because you probably already know, but if you're in doubt of it, just let it come. Don't force it through. You will know. It's showing you something that maybe you don't want to do too fast, like this new thing that you want. Maybe there's some kind of resistance on it. There's this big theme for you, so just be aware of the control issues that kind of pushes you backwards. The nervous system can also be activated, and you'll feel like pressured into the new. So the resistance is always in the mind, in the thoughts. So because it's also in the fixed signs, they can be pretty resistant. These squares. So unless you really choose to just relax into it, so it could feel like a slower process because you have a little resistance, but it's okay. Just accept any part of the process. Get out of your head and just into a flow, and feel like you're flowing into this. So maybe you've been ignoring this part of yourself that you pushed away because you didn't understand it, but now there's kind of like a perfect timing for things. So just be faithful. Maybe you're gonna relate differently to people, and what means and matters to you is gonna change. These two things are interconnected, right? There's a slowdown first, but then there's a kind of liberation, because Uranus is going to go into the square on the 5th to Mars, and on the 8th and 9th of August to Venus. So this is like, Uranus is always kind of like a breakthrough, to break free, and break up, maybe even in a relationship, break down, also where you break down. But it's a crisis is always a new step that's coming to you later on. So just remember that even though you feel like you're in a crisis, it's because you're altering to a new level. So you're looking at the deeper issues of around self-love. That's the Uranus thing. And how, because Uranus is in Venus' sign. So how do you feel? How do you feel that you're really getting what you want? And how do you feel seen? How do you feel protected? How do you feel nourished and safe? To feel loved. And where have you made choices that wasn't self-loving, when you find out of this might lead to breakups, because you've been choosing something that wasn't self-love because it wasn't right for you. Wherever you have ignored your intuition is often where you de-choose self-love. So that might lead to a breakup. So it's kind of like an understanding about your relationship patterns. In your life, something that you just know, oh my goodness, how could I ever have been treating myself this way? I will never do this again. The question is, what do you want in your life? First, what do you want? Then the relationships can come afterwards, right? Because everyone is mirroring you anyway, so it has nothing to do with people outside of you. Remember that everyone outside of you is playing a role. They are hired to mirror you back. Remember I said that in the last report? Everyone is hired to mirror you back. So you can do it, right? This is about your heart. It's expanding your heart, and it's also just being in a clean and clear solar plexus. We can do it, guys. Remember to meditate morning and evening. How hard can it be, guys? You're washing your face, you're washing your underneath your arms, you're taking a shower. Why don't you do that meditational shower? You have to do it if you want to be liberated from that monkey behind the wheel mind of yours. It is the most important thing in order to move forward right now. You have to activate and be able to listen to that inner voice that is always constantly talking to you and guiding you. But you can't hear it if you don't meditate and get enough quiet time morning and evening. I know that I sound strict, but rather be strict. This is me being Saturn. So this is Saturn saying, guys, meditate. It's going to benefit you. You're going to see layers of the world you haven't seen before once you do this regularly. There's a link to a meditation here. I'm going to come up with a visualization soon as well. P.S. By the way, Mercury went out of his shadow on the 7th of July, or is going out of his shadow on the 7th of July. So there's also something new going on, like you're getting some new mental understanding, which is going to be nice, and a new communication. And finally, of course, he will then enter Cancer on the 11th. So now you're going to feel your truth and be more intuitive. And so your intuition is really important now. By the way, why would you ever look for recognition outside of yourself if you find it within? That's why I'm saying don't listen to your mind. Go in and find that self-love within. Because once you have it, there's no need to look for it anywhere else, because then why would you look for it anywhere else if you already have it? Right?
There is this angel saying, I'm gonna find my way back home. The secret is love, he said. You've got to lift yourself up, try again. One day you will break through. What you long for will find you.
Don't follow trends, follow your heart.